Okay, so what we have seen was the Freedom integral equation of second kind with separable kernel and which is homogeneous. And for that matter, we have seen the procedure how to solve it, and I think 2-3 problems also we have solved. So let's go for non-homogeneous. And in fact, this is what is told to you to solve. I don't know how much efforts you have put in. Let us do that. Non-homogeneous. Freedom integral equation. Anybody got anything? Homogeneous means that fx was 0, and I told you check fx which is not equals to 0 and proceed as the way we have done for the last things. Anyone tried by chance?
Yes, sir.
Got anything?
So I reached till the determinant d delta lambda.
Okay, great. Let's see what happens here. So non-homogeneous Freedom integral equation, and again I'm not writing that it is second kind with separable kernel. So the equation is y of x is equals to fx. Fx is some function which is not equals to 0 in this case, plus lambda. Freedom integral means it is a to b constant values. Kernel kxt y of t dt. Let us take this equation 1. Again, as in the last case, lambda is real. You can check what happens if real this lambda is complex. And again, we assume that your kernel kxt is separable kernel. Screen is visible, right? Screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as in the last case, let us take this kernel kxt which is separable kernel to be in the compact form, that is summation I from 1 to n ai x. Ai is a function of x from I from 1 to n, and then bit again a function of x. Let us take this equation number 2, and same as last one, we have stated that aix, these all functions aix and these functions bit are linearly independent. And since this aix were linearly independent, we can check in the last one that coefficients are 0, and then we got the system of equations, right? So proceed the same way what we have done last time. Substitute equation 2 in equation 1 and check what we get. So you take this kxt and put in this one. So you will have y of x is equals to fx. Let me write the same equation again, plus lambda integral a to b kxt yt dt, that is your equation 1. Put equation 2 in equation 1, that means you are substituting for k kernel. So that will be fx plus lambda integral a to b, put for kernel, summation I from 1 to n aix bit kernel y of t dt. Simplify further. This will be equals to fx, that is function outside, plus lambda is outside the integral. Those aix where the functions of x and you are integrating with respect to t. So you can take this aix outside, and then since it's a finite sum of functions and you are taking the integral, as in you are integrating f plus g, that is same as integral of f plus integral of g, use those results and take that summation outside. So what you will have is those n functions, summation I from 1 to n, aix, those are the functions of x, and then we will have these integrals a to b, bit, y of t, dt. Same as we have done last time. This is fx plus lambda summation I from 1 to n eix, and take this integral as ci. Equation 3 we can see, where the ci is nothing but integral from a to b bit y of t dt. Take this equation number 4. So you are taking this integral from a to b bit yt dt as your ci's. Now our aim is find the ci's. So if you know this value, if you know the value of ci, that means find the ci, substitute in equation number 3. That means y of x will be equals to fx. So fx is a known function plus lambda, you know. This aix are from kernel, that we know, and ci you are finding. That means your right hand side is known function, and that is the value of your y of x. That is the solution, right? So our aim is to get these values of ci's. So proceed as we have done for the last things. So what we do is substitute 3 in equation 1. We get, you take your equation 3, that is for y of x, and take this and substitute in your given equation 1, that is y of x is equals to fx plus lambda integral from a to b axt yt dt. Do that. So what you will get is your left hand side is fx plus lambda summation I from 1 to n eix pi, that is your left hand side for yx, and then your right hand side is, again, correct me if I am writing something different, fx was there by default plus lambda integral a to b, kernel you had k comma t, and then you have y. So let me write that y in this column. I'm writing down here. It's going outside. Let me write here down. It's inside the integral. Fx plus, be careful here, lambda, is it fx or ft? I think it should be t. You're putting for y of t. So y of t will be ft plus lambda summation I from 1 to n eit pi dt. Yeah. So whatever you have kxt into this bracket. This implies, let me go for the next page. This implies that fx cancels out this fx, and this fx will cancel out, and you will have summation I from 1 to n EIXCI is equals to fx cancels out, so a to b, check this, kxt ft dt plus that lambda also you can take it out and cancel, provided that is not equals to 0, and if lambda is 0 then we can check what are the scenarios, what are the conditions we will get. So lambda summation, same thing what you have done in the previous step, summation j from 1 to n, j's are constant, integral a to b, kernel kxt gt dt. Check this step. If anything is wrong, then tell me now, otherwise next steps will be wrong. This fx cancels out. This is multiplication, so you open the brackets. So kxt ft dt, that is first step what I have written here. And then when you open this lambda, first lambda I cancelled with this lambda, and then integral ci we have taken outside, kxt summation j, this summation you are changing it, and so AGT dt you will get. Correct? Correct? Any problem till now? Anyone? Any problem?
No, sir.
Okay, so let me write from here because it's a big expression. You substitute for your kernel kxt. Substitute for the kernel kxt in both the expressions. So that is same as integral a to b. So kernel is summation. Let us take I from 1 to n. EIX EIT, that is your kernel, ft dt plus lambda is here, summation j from 1 to n, j is there, integral a to b, for kernel, summation I from 1 to n, EIX EIT, your kernel, AGT dt. Right? Now try to write this as summation or linear combination of EIX. Then you can say that EIX are linearly independent, hence the coefficients are 0 by doing some things. So let us try to write this as summation I from 1 to n EIX into some brackets. That means you take common. So what will be inside the bracket? So when you take this EIX outside, you will have integral a to b. We are taking this EIX summation outside, so EIT, then you have ft dt. That is from your first part. Let me write the second part down. Plus lambda is there, summation is there, dj, then this integral a to b, summation AIX you have taken outside, so the remaining part will be EIT AJT dt, right? And then if you have noticed, you have summation of AIX in your left hand side as well. So what you do is you take these all terms together and write that as a linear combination of AIX. So when you take that, simple thing what you can do is you can take this left hand side or shift this term on your right hand side and then write equals to 0. So when you do that, what you will get is this coefficients, or I can say functions EIX, and then you check your bracket. Either you shift your left hand side to right hand side or right hand side to your left hand side. It's up to you. So this will be CI minus integral A to B BIT in simplified form we can write plus lambda summation j from 1 to n Cj AJT dt that will be equals to 0. Check the expression. Check the expression. Any I, J or any term is missing?
No, sir.
Okay.
So there is a lambda outside.
Where? This is lambda.
Lambda summation I.
Lambda is here. You cannot take this lambda out here because there is no lambda here. There is no lambda in this summation as well. So that lambda will not be, you cannot take that lambda outside and cancel. So lambda will be with this AJT only, BIT AJT with this summation, right? So now we can say that since this EIX are or is linearly independent, since these EIs are linearly independent and you are adding the linear combination, that means your coefficients whatever you have should be 0, and that means CI minus integral A to B BIT FT dt, this term, minus, check this, integral A to B lambda summation j from 1 to n Cj BIT AJT dt equals to 0, and this will happen for all i's. If you take I equals to 1, the coefficient of a1 will be 0. That means this entire expression will be with I equals to 1. Then if you put I equals to 2, this entire equation will be 2 with I equals to 2. So this happens for all I from 1, 2, 3 up to n. So check if this statement is true. I just rearranged it. Ci is there, BIT, I have opened the bracket, BIT FTDT, then again minus is there, integral this lambda summation Cj, I have taken this BIT, then AJT dt equals to 0. So far so good. So this implies what we can do now. Just rearrange this entire terms. So Ci minus integral A to B BIT FT dt minus, I can take this lambda outside, lambda, again you can take this summation outside, Cj is a constant, you can take outside, and then other things you cannot take it outside because you are integrating with respect to t, and those are the functions of t. So we'll have integral A to B, we have AJT, then we have BIT dt equals to 0, and this happens for I 1, 2 up to n. Now you use your shorthand notations that will help us to reduce these things. So set fi to be integral a to b vit f dt. So this integral from a to b vit f dt, you write it as fi's, and then this integral ajt bt vit, you set that as aij, the way we have done last time. So fi is this, and aij, be careful here with the indices, aij is equals to integral a to b vit ajt dt. Now if you have noticed here, these fi's and aij's are constant, and these values you can easily find as the value of f, the unknown part, sorry, the function fx in your given non-homogeneous equation. You know this ait and bjt whatever you have is from your kernel which is given to you. That means whatever integrand you have here is known, you can find the value of this integral. That means these fi's and aij's you can easily find without any trouble, right? So with this shorthand notations, we can write your equation as ci minus fi minus lambda summation j from 1 to n cj, that integral is aij is equals to 0 for all I from 1 to up to n. So in this equation, this integral we are putting as fi's, and this integral we are putting as aij, and hence you will get this equation cj aij equals to 0. So if you want to write this is same as ci minus lambda summation j from 1 to n cj aij is equals to fi, okay, fi all I equals to 1 to up to n. Let me write this as equation number 5. Now if you have noticed here, these aij's and fi's, you know you have to find the value of ci. That means there are n equations for each I equals to 1 to n, and there are n variables or unknowns, you can say, that is c1 c2 up to cn. So we can say that equation 5 is a system of n equations in n unknowns, and again one step further you can say that is non-homogeneous system of equation, that is fi's. Last time we didn't had these fi's, we had ci minus something something equals to 0, so that is a homogeneous system. Now in this case we have non-homogeneous system. So equation 5, this equation 5 is system of n, the linear equations, you can check, and this is not the time to tell you what is linear equation. So this is linear equations, again you can say these are algebraic equations, no problem. In there are n unknowns, those unknowns are ci's, you can see, and if from equation 5 you can find the values of ci's, then you can put these values of ci's in your equation 3, and you will get the solution. As we have discussed, this y of x equals to fx, you know, all the other functions you know. So your job is find the values of ci's. So from equation 5 we can find the values of ci's. Take these values, substitute in equation 3 and you are done. You will get the solution. In short, the problem of finding the solution of equation number 1 is reduced to find the solution of this system of equation, right? So let us write that also. Thus the problem of solving Proudhon integral equation reduces to solving equation 5, that is system of equation in that equation 5. Now you should know some theory about this system of equations. So system of equation in which we have n equations and unknowns, where you have homogeneous system, sometimes you may have non-homogeneous system, all those things you should know. Now in this case, since we have non-homogeneous system, we have to check the determinant. So check the determinant of these coefficients. We know that system, when it is solvable, when system 5 is solvable in the sense we have non-zero solution. Definitely you cannot have a zero solution there. You cannot have a zero solution. Zero solution means all the values of ci's will be 0, and if all these values are 0, that means all these fi's should be 0, and then we are assuming those to be non-zero values. Or you may check what are the other situations you may come across. So we know that the system 5 is solvable when you can only if d lambda is equals to, so we are denoting that determinant of your coefficients to be d lambda. So what are these d lambdas? Write down, check. You have you have n equations and unknowns. So try to write that determinant matrix or this determinant. What will be that? Tejas?
So, yes, 1 minus.
I guess it's
A1,
same as
1.
what we have done last time.
Yes, sir.
Right? So 1 minus lambda a11
Yes.
minus lambda a12 minus lambda a1n, then minus lambda a21, and this is 1 minus lambda a22. Those diagonals will be those terms. Write the directly last row. Minus lambda an1 minus lambda an2 1 minus lambda ann. Now what is the situation? We know that system 5, sum of equations in equation 5 is solvable if and only if what happens to this determinant?
It should be 1.
Right?
So it should be at most n.
At most n means what? Suppose you have a system of two equations, two unknowns, right? Let us take that. I will drop that part. You have, say, a1x plus 1y is equals to c1, and a2x plus b2y is equals to c2. Okay. Now I am saying that c1 and c2 are not equals to 0 both together. That means I have non-homogeneous system. What is the condition wherein you will have non-zero solution to this? Or what is the solution wherein you can solve this equation. Always. That's what we have written here, if and only if. So the system of equation in 5 is solvable if and only if something happens. What happens?
Determinant.
Your voice is breaking. Can you repeat?
So the determinant.
What determinant? That's what we have written, determinant. We have written the determinant
Determinant is
already.
not equal to 0.
That means this is solvable if and only if the determinant
Determinant
a1,
is not
b1,
equal to
a2, b2 is not equals to 0, and then you check that Cramer's rule and all those kind of things, right? So we know that system 5 is solvable if and only if, I'm writing we know that, hoping that you know that, right? So we know that system 5 is solvable if and only if this determinant, which is we are denoting by d lambda, is not equals to 0. And again, as we have discussed last time, what is d at 0? When you put lambda equals to 0, you will get d at 0. And what is d at 0? What is d at 0? You
So
don't have to
one.
think about it.
1.
It is 1. Yes, it is 1. Yes, it is 1. So, and again, when you solve this, you will have a polynomial in lambda. As in, all these aij's you know how to find it. You find the values of aij's, substitute in this determinant. So entire when you evaluate, you will have a polynomial in lambda, and that polynomial will be of the degree at most n. So you can check that. I have explained this in the last meet, how you get that polynomial and all. So also observe that this d lambda is a polynomial in lambda of degree at most n. And again, let me state this also, d at 0 is equals to 1. When you put lambda equals to 0, you will get d at 0, and that d at 0 is equals to 1. So for all values of lambda for which this d lambda is not equals to 0, the algebraic system, the system of equation what you had in equation 5, algebraic system 5, equation number 5, and hence your integral equation 1 has unique solution. So check all those conditions when you have unique solution, when you have infinitely many solutions, or when you have no solution. This I have discussed last year in detail with all the conditions. In fact, when you have system of two equations, two unknowns, you can represent them as a straight lines, and then you will have unique solution when they intersect. You will have no solution when they are parallel. You have infinitely many solution when they are overlapping, right? So just check, revise that part. Now these values of lambda are called regular values. That means the values of lambda for which that determinant d lambda is not equals to 0, those are called regular values. The values of lambda for which that d lambda is equals to 0 are called eigenvalues. Right? Eigenvalues you can see of kernel, or you can see of integral equation 1. Right? Now in this case in the sense, when you have this lambdas for which d lambda equals to 0, in this case, not the previous case, this case d lambda equals to 0, in this case system is insolvable in general. In general it is not, or you cannot solve that, but however it can be solved for some particular values of fi's. This all things will come across when you solve the system of equation. You check that theory. Fi means that you are non-homogeneous part. If you have noticed, your Fi is nothing but that this non-homogeneous part in equation 5. Clear? So let me write one more statement here. System can also have infinitely many solutions if you have this d lambda equals to 0. And when you have this d lambda equals to 0 and when you find the solution, these solutions are called eigenfunctions. That I am not writing. Right? So for values of lambda for which d lambda equals to 0, and if you get the solution, that solution is called the eigenfunction corresponding to the eigenvalue lambda. So let me discuss this in brief again, what we have done. We have started with your non-homogeneous Freedom integral equation 1, that is y of x equals to fx plus lambda into integral kxt yt dt. We assume that lambda is real and your kernel kxt is separable kernel. Then we have written this kernel kxt in this notation since it's a separable kernel, and we assume that this aix and vits, those are linearly independent functions. Yeah. So when you took this kernel kxt, substitute in equation 1, we got equation number 3, wherein we are writing the ci's to be integral from a to b vit yt dt. Now if you find the values of ci's and substitute in equation 3, you get the solution of your Freedom integral equation 1. So whole job is reduced to find the values of ci's. So to get these values of ci's, we took this equation 3 and substituted in equation 1, and we got this system of equation in ci's, which is non-homogeneous system, and that system has a solution or solvable provided the determinant of this coefficient is not equals to 0. We denote those determinant as d lambda. So whole thing comes into d lambda. D lambda is a polynomial of lambda in lambda of the degree at most n, and when you put lambda equals to 0, you will get d at 0, which is equals to 1. So the problem of solving your integral equation reduces to get the solution of this system of equation in phi. You get these values and substitute in equation 3 to get the solution. That's all. Clear? Any problem? Any issues?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Take the example. Let me write the equation directly. Y of x is equals to x plus lambda integral 0 to 1 x t square plus x square t y of t dt. This is your equation. Let us write this equation 1. You have to solve this. If you have noticed here, your kernel is separable. You have freedom integral equation of second kind which is non-homogeneous. So definitely whatever we have discussed right now, we can use that method and solve this. Now if you have noticed, let us write this. What is given here? Your a is nothing but 0, your value of b is nothing but 1, right? Your function fx is nothing but x, your kernel kxt is x t square plus x square t, which is separable. This is your separable kernel, and when you write this in your AIX and BIT notations, this will be your A1. Not necessarily you can shift. This is your B1, B1t. This is your A2x, and this is your B2t. Clear? Now if you have noticed, again here there are two functions which are added. That means your value of n will be equals to 2. That means you will have f1 and f2, a1 or c1, c2 up to cn, n is equals to 2, so only c1 and c2 you will have. Alright, so you can follow the procedure and check what you will get. For this you have to find what is f1, f2, then aij's, that is nothing but a11, a12, a21, a22. Get your system, get your d lambda, get your lambdas for which that d lambda is not equals to 0. From that you get the value of c1 and c2, substitute in your equation and get the solution. So I'm not writing all those steps here, I'm keeping that for you to write. Let me write the values directly. I'm not writing all the steps for this problem. So your f1, so for the definition of that f1, if you have checked, that is 0 to 1 f of t, that will be b1 of t dt. So integral from 0 to 1 f of t will be t, and b1 of t was t square dt. Get the value? Tell me the answer of this. Integral of t cube, that is t raised to 4 upon 4, that is 1 by 4. Your f2, you follow the procedure. I am not writing the procedure, I am just writing these steps. f2 will be integral from 0 to 1 ft b2t dt, that is same as 0 to 1 ft is t, b2t, b2 is t dt. So t square is t cube by 3, so 1 by 3. Am I correct for f1 and f2?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Then you proceed for your aij's. Let me write directly. You write all the steps. Full solution. So aij, let me write the system as well. Oh. aij, that equation is integral from a to b bit. Don't get confused here. First you have to take ki and then aj. I mean I the index for I will be for B and J for A. So AJT G. For that you have to find what is A11, A12, A21, A22. N is equals to 2. A11 is nothing but integral from A to B, D1t, A1t, dt, that is integral A to B, B1 is t square, A1 is x, that is t, dt, and again that will be t raised to 3, t raised to 3 is t raised to 4 upon 4. Let me change this 0 to 1. So t raised to 4 upon 4, when you put upper limit, lower limit, it is 1 upon 4. Am I correct? Check. 0 to 1, B1 t, A2 t, dt, when you substitute 0 to 1, t square, dt, t raised to 4, t raised to 5 by 5, so 1 by 5. A2 1, 0 to 1, A2 t, A1 t, dt, that is 0 to 1, B2 is t, A1 I think, A1 t, dt, that is t square, t cube by 3, that is 1 by 3. 0 to 1, t, A2 t, dt, 0 to 1, A2 t, t cube. Okay, so t square dt, that is t cube is t raised to 3 by t raised to 4 by 4, 1 by 4. Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 1 minute. Sir, present sir. Just follow the procedure, check. Sir, anything? You think you are stuck, right? Stuck? You are scanning? Okay, so you have your FIs, you have your AIJs, that means you can write your system. So let your CI, I'm writing that directly here, you write all the procedure. CI will be 0 to 1, if I'm not wrong, that will be BIT, YT dt, right? And then your equation for that solution was y of x is equals to x plus lambda summation I from 1 to 2 AIX CI. I don't know any equation I have used or not. Yeah, equation 2. So when you substitute everything, and you'll get the system of equation wherein you have two equations and two unknowns, and for that you will have d lambda, the coefficient matrix d lambda. Before that you write all those things, the system of equations and all those things. Tell me what is d lambda.
One minus lambda by 4.
1 minus lambda by 4 minus lambda by 5, is that?
Yes.
Minus lambda by 3
Lambda
and
by 3.
1 minus lambda by 4. Correct?
4.
So when you solve this,
Yes, sir.
yes, when you solve this, you will get lambda square plus 120 lambda minus 240 upon this 0 is not there. 240 divided by 240. Anyone got this? Simplify this determinant, you will get this. Anyone? Just simplify the determinant and get the simplified form. Yes, anyone? How much time you need? Okay, that just let me write this in brief. You check your things afterwards. The system will be this. You write the complete solution afterwards. Give you this as a hint. C1 minus lambda by 5, C2 equals to 1 by 4, and minus lambda by 3, C1 plus 1 minus lambda by 4, C2 is equals to 1 by 3, and you find the solution of this system. That means you have to find the value of C1 and C2. Let me write the values of C1 and C2 directly. You check. C1 is 1 upon d lambda. We assume that your d lambda is not equals to 0. That means you get those values of lambda for which this d lambda is not equals to 0. Then only we can solve further. So 1 by d lambda 1 by 4 plus lambda by 240, and C2 is 1 upon 3 1 by d lambda. So you take these values of C1 and C2, substitute in your equation 2, and you will get the solution. Clear? Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So you find the system, you get the solution, you get the values of Ci, C1, C2, substitute in your equation, get the solution. So in this case, this is your system and this is the value of C1 and C2, and substitute. Now after this, let me write the question here for you. Find, same problem, find the eigenvalues in above problem. Same problem, you find the eigenvalues. Now if you want to find the eigenvalues, what you do is you take this d lambda, put that equals to 0, get the values of lambda. So in particular, you have this quadratic equation, you have to get the roots of this quadratic equation, that's all. And one I will give as exercise. Same problem, but I'm not giving you the function value as of that fx. So whatever solution you will have, that solution will contain that f1 and f2. Whatever solution you will have, that solution will contain that f1 and f2, because this f function value, I have not stated anything. Any problem here? Hello.
No, sir.
Okay, so you can take this. I will export this as a PDF and put that on the classroom. You can copy this problem and you can solve. And
Okay, sir.
you can verify these values. This may be wrong. Clear? Clear?